Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm here at the IEEE PES T&D, that's a lot of acronyms, conference. This is the 2020 version that is actually being held in 2022. These interviews that we're conducting is with thought leaders on the future of the power industry. So enjoy. So my guest is Prabhat Jain. He is you're not the founder of Virginia Transformer, but you are the CEO, you're the president of Virginia Transformer and Georgia Transformer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Any other transformer companies that you're part of?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. We do have an announcement that we'll be making a little bit later in the interview. But one of the questions that I've got for you, Prabhat, is because you're a visionary. You've been a visionary and look at him, he's got that little smile on his face. He knows he's a visionary. When you look ahead, what are the challenges that you see for the power industry, the trends that you see for the power industry? Talk a little bit about kind of current challenges that we've got in the midst of COVID and some of the future challenges that don't relate to current situations.
So there are two challenges right now that the industry is facing. And those are, one is supply chain. Supply chain challenge, started from the COVID. When COVID hit, then the supply chain disruptions occurred. Many of the manufacturers retrenched because they didn't know where, they didn't have a market. Not only the manufacturers, but the freight companies as well.
Right.
Freight companies retrenched, they sold their containers and ships. So when we decided to come back out of COVID, then the manufacturing supply chain was totally in disarray. We cannot get our products from our suppliers.
Yeah.
And interestingly, their suppliers cannot supply them.
Right.
So this is not just one layer deep, it's probably 3-layer deep problem. My supplier like a bushing supplier, and their supplier like a porcelain and a conductor supplier,
right.
And then the rubbers and the seals, that happened. And Alan, now it's going even further. It's going into glues, varnishes.
Wow, yeah.
FRP, just plain everyday material, are in short supply.
So I got to ask you, somebody told me recently that the lead time for transformers is extended. I thought that was because of demand, but it's also because the supply, just you all getting the parts.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
So the supply chain has gotten longer in terms of lead time and of course distance, because we have gone out to all over the world, including Poland and China and Vietnam and Philippines and India and Brazil, to bring materials in,
right,
so we can maintain and supply our customers' commitments, which is so important to us as we go forward. Yeah. And we are very innovative. So we have found those solutions to be able to get the supply chain materials in our place so we can satisfy our customers. But by so doing, of course, the cost goes up, number one.
Yeah.
Because you're getting material from overseas, and you have a commitment, and sometimes we have to fly the material in because the containers are not available.
Yeah.
The freight forwarders cannot get the ship bookings, so then we have to fly the material in order to meet our commitment to customers. Yeah. So the cost is going up continuously. So lead time went up, but to contain the lead time, we have to put more cost input.
So I can get my transformer if I pay you more to get my transformer, because you have to pay, right?
Because it's costing us so much more.
Yeah.
And even we cannot predict. We book an order today expecting that this is how much we're going to be spending, but then because the lead time is 9 months, so much changes.
You've just given a good illustration of why we have such inflation, because demand for things are higher.
Absolutely.
And in order to get them, guess what? People can charge more, have to charge more. I mean, flying something in is a lot more expensive than having it come on a ship.
And Alan, we don't want to charge more from our customers. We charge more just to be able to protect our bottom line so we are healthy financially.
Right.
That's so important for us.
Right.
If you're not, then of course, we're not going to be there tomorrow to service our customers. And our customers understand that. They always ask us why the price went up 30% in the last 6 months. And we explain to them as to why it went up, what changes happened, and what are we doing to give them their delivery on time, how much I'm spending on stocking up material, in my different plants. As far as India, I'm stocking core steel in India right now because core steel is one that can be in short supply.
Right.
Because we only have one producer in core steel in our country.
Right.
Only one. If something happened, then we will certainly be short of supply. So we are thinking so far ahead in investing money and energy and resources of people. We have added, about 15 people in our supply chain sourcing area, just to have the people that we can manage the supply chain.
TMAA, Transformer Manufacturers Association of America, I think it is TMAA. We just signed a joint letter. A lot of manufacturers did. I'm sure you guys did. That went to the Department of Energy to push for more core steel facility here in the United States. Because
Oh my God, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Single source. Go ahead.
Okay. Talk about the industry as a whole. Some of the trends that are not short term, not COVID related. What do you see the longer term trends?
Let me touch upon the labor situation as well. So the COVID created such a dislocation in our whole economy that people who were working, they were out of work. And when they're out of work, they're thinking, what else can I do? Many of them went to start their own businesses.
Yeah.
So they're not coming back to work. Many of them moved to where they're near their parents. So they have moved away. So they're not coming back to the original workplace. Many of them, just went and started doing other things, which they couldn't imagine that they would love doing. Like when somebody went, this is a true story, somebody went say, no, I'm going to start painting an artist because I've always loved to do that. I realized that, I enjoy doing that. So they went to Colorado and just started painting. So these things are happening.
Yeah.
So the society is changing and we cannot find the workers, particularly skilled workers.
Yeah. Right.
We cannot find them. And we are having to take them from other people, and of course they come and take it from us.
Right.
So this is kind of going around, and the cost of labor is increasing exponentially.
Right.
Exponentially, and that is a segue to your question: where are we going?
Yeah, okay.
Where are we going with this now? So two things are happening. One is the material.
Okay.
Supply chain is constrained, and it's not going to solve itself. My vision is that it's going to be 3 to 5 years, maybe 7 years longer.
Okay.
In order to just continue on. And the reason, Alan, is demand. So supply chain disruptions occurred, which brought us here now with the longer supply chain and longer lead times and higher cost. But the demand is the other side, which is growing so fast right now because the new industry is coming. Bitcoin is one. Bitcoin demand is so huge right now in our country for people to be able to produce the Bitcoin mining.
Takes a lot of power to create Bitcoin.
And they call it mining. When somebody came Bitcoin mining, I said, okay, what are going to mine? And they're mining money, which is very, very unique.
Right.
But it's a huge demand. The other is, of course, the data centers. Data centers, they are growing wildly right now because a couple of things happen. Because what is happening in Europe with respect to Russia and then Ukraine, and Russia has a lot of cyber, power, cyber power, and that cyber power can convert into them stealing secrets from the NATO countries, and that's a threat. For that reason, I think we're going to build a lot more data centers in our country here to protect the data of Europe.
Yeah, right.
It's growing. And of course, our data is also mushrooming. There's the third demand coming from EV chargers. So the EV chargers are going to be just like how many gas stations or gas pumps we have in our country.
Right.
That's how many EV chargers we're going to have. So 30% cars are going to be electric in the next 15 to 20 years. That's going to have a lot of demand. There's another thing that is happening, Alan, and I'm sure you know about this one, is the utilities distribution systems are very antiquated.
Yes.
Two reasons. One, they are just old. Yeah. But the other thing is there's so much demand is mushrooming, so they have to produce more distribution lines and distribution transformers. So the projection is that $50 billion will be spent in the next 7 years in the utilities to expand distribution systems.
Wow.
Which means they're going to require more transformers.
Yeah.
So that's one demand that is coming from, and this demand is then continued to. So we have this supply chain issue, and the demand is pushing it. So I don't think we're going to get out of the supply chain. So the answer is innovation. We have to come up with new materials, new sources, different materials. I believe what's going to happen is the utilities and the consumer will become open to the fact that say we have to accept new materials. We are not going to be traditional like we were 10, 15, 20 years ago. No, we always use this. We always use this.
Right.
No, let my engineers and my developers come up with new systems so I can solve the supply chain issue and provide the demand.
Right.
That's number one. Number two is the labor issue. I have to automate. Automation is not easy in transformer making, but we have to do that. We have to automate to the point where we can not only produce more transformers, but also be able to produce them with not as high skill requirement because we cannot get the skill anymore.
Right. Yeah.
However, there is another answer to this. Hire more engineers in the shop. Hire more technicians in the shop. So we need to elevate the level of the people that work and produce transformers.
Yeah.
Engineers producing transformers, get that concept. Now, where do we get the engineers from?
Yeah.
We have to bring them from India, from Mexico, from these countries, and hire our own here as well.
Yeah.
Because in our country we have two channels in engineering, mechanical engineering: production and design.
Right.
So they have the production engineers and say, okay, I'll put it in the shop. I'll pay you engineers' wages. Absolutely. So what happens? Cost is going to go up, but the quality and the productivity will be much higher.
Right.
So this is the solution that we are pursuing. I mean, they're a little bit longer term, but I see the demand curve is not gonna lighten up.
So, as an older mechanical engineer, I have a job, right?
There you go.
You have an announcement to make at this event, an important one.
Yes.
You have another child coming, as I understand it, right?
In the family.
Another child in the family coming.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what's happening in Chihuahua, Mexico.
So Alan, what happened is, about 2 years ago, I started to see the demand building up, I see this curve, EV charging and Bitcoin coming along. And I said, I did a back of the envelope calculation. I said, we're going to be short. Our demand for small transformer, distribution transformer, is going to be 2x of the supply just in 3 years.
Wow, okay.
In 3 years, we're going to be 2x demand. So we don't have capacity. So I said, I'm going to start planning a transformer plant here, again, to service the customers. And most important, Alan, for me is that, we don't want our economy to be stifled because of lack of transformers.
Right.
So I decided to build this plant. This plant is going to be built in Chihuahua, where we already have a plant. We have infrastructure, we have engineers, we have operators, we have technicians. So we are going to build a new plant there. It's a 300,000 square feet facility. And we're going to be building two types of transformers, which are both in short supply.
Okay.
One is what we call distribution transformer. We have a new name for that, E2X. So we take energy and change it into something.
Okay.
Energy going to Bitcoin.
Right.
Energy going to miles for EV charging. Energy going to data.
Centers.
In the data centers.
Yeah.
So this is the E2X variety of transformer. And we're going to be producing those. We're going to produce up to 5,000 annually transformers in that, which will fill about 20 or 30% of the demand gap.
Okay.
But that much gap it will fill just by us. The other transformer I'm going to build in that plant is the medium power, up to 100 MVA.
Okay.
Which is used in solar energy, and it's used in the Bitcoin mining. It's used in the Bitcoin mining and data centers.
Okay.
And in addition to that, I'm going to build dry type transformer there, which is a technology I have had in my company since 1970s. Dry type transformer is so unique.
Yes.
In terms of supplying today in the data centers, because you can put it inside, you have no fire hazard. Same thing about Bitcoin. So we can bring them in the building and we can have it closer to the load, so your cabling is less, your losses are less. So we have the dry type transformer. So I'm going to build all of this equipment in that 300,000 square foot facility, and it's going to be. I'm staffing it with people who are 20 to 30 year experience, and I'm getting them from other plants which unfortunately had to close because their demand and their business model failed in Mexico.
Excellent. Excellent.
So I'm bringing people from there. So it's not like I'm going to be training my engineers to build a 100 MVA transformer. No, they already know how to build a 100 MVA transformer for the last 30 years.
But I know that your system of how you do things, because I think that's one of the things that impresses me about Virginia Transformer, Georgia Transformer, is you have a very, very unique system. Transformers are transformers, right? But your quality control system to be able to create a quality product is, we'll do another interview all around that because I'd love to get into that. Last thing I want to talk to you about is IEEE. You've been at IEEE, these events, but it's the idea that you get your engineers, you encourage them to get involved, to get on the committees and do that. So why that? Why do you do that? Because what do you expect to happen in return?
First of all, engineers want to share and grow.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
We're so unique.
So this is what they get when they go to IEEE.
Yeah.
They listen to their peers, what is happening in the industry, what growth is happening, and that's their energy.
Yeah.
So they design transformers, but then they learn what else is going on in the world, and they network with a lot of people. It's just networking. That's one thing they get. However, they get a lot of sense of accomplishment when they are doing the standard work. When they are contributing with it. The 35 other people on the committee who are contributing and discussing issues, and it's a dialogue they have, and that invigorates them. And they learn and they use their knowledge, and then they grow. This is one thing they get. And what does the company get out of that? The company gets recognition that my engineers are on the committees and they're chairmen of the committees.
Yes.
That means they are very accomplished. What they do for Virginia Transformer is very qualified work because they are recognized by their peers.
Excellent. Yeah.
That's the engineers get it. Now, my reason for coming or us exhibiting in the IEEE T&D show here every time is because by coming here we accomplish two main things. One is people get to see us, and we get to see people. Because our seeing people is so important.
Yeah.
We assess them. What energy level is there? How happy they are, or how energized they are. What is their view of the future? How many people are here? If you see very few people, that means maybe the confidence level is waning.
Right.
But if you see a lot of people here, a lot of happy faces, a lot of involvement, we know you're on the up and up. And that's what gives us that view. Also, the vendors come here.
Yeah.
And the vendors can then also, we can see from the vendors, what are they thinking? How is the supply chain going to pan out for them? Because they are the ones who are feeling the pain as much as I'm feeling the pain. And we'll get to see them. So it's so important to come here. It's a big community.
So I have a new evaluation, how I determine whether the events are good. It's going to be the happiness factor, how happy the people are. But this has been an interview with Prabhat Jain. He is the CEO of Virginia Transformer, Georgia Transformer, and the new plant number 5, because you all have a plant in Idaho, correct?
Yes.
You got 5 plants now, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support for IEEE.
Alan, thank you very much for your inquisitive questions.
Appreciate it,
Thank
Prabhat.
you.